Hey folks, Merry Christmas to y'all. We are going to, I don't know what the hell happened in my chat window. Something hanky happened there, so give me a second here. I'm going to see if I can sort this thing out. Hold on. Go here, sort this, copy this. Out. I'm going to mute that. I'm going to do, I can do pop out, chat pop out chat. There we go. Now I can put this in. Burp, burp. Seems about right. Hey, Onetico. It's good to see you, man. Just got home from family gathering. Right on, dude. I'm going to do some Spelljammer Combat Exploration mechanical developments. I'll walk us through what that is here in a minute. But I just want to make sure that I'm punching my channels, let folks know what I got going on. So if you follow me on Twitter, I've just posted on Twitter. And I'm going to just buzz through my the Discord channels that I hang out at before I get up and running here for the, we're just going to actually play with text today. So if this is your first time checking out my stuff, and Hornetico, I know that you've been around for a while, so forgive me, I'm trying to build a spiel here. So here's the spiel so far. I'm Phil Kearney. I create PDFs on the DMsGuild. There is a link down below that has a link to a bunch of books that I've already created, and they're all at a 35% discount to purchase as a bundle. A lot of them are actually, pay what you want if you just want to check them out. But I build mechanics for DMsGuild. I publish them there. This stream is for us to actually create the document and then do all the artwork and all the things. So now that I've got my stuff up and running, this is the book cover that we built. If you check out the Spelljammer playlist that this current stream will eventually be a part of, check that out, and then I will this is the book cover. We made it we made the cover there, so you can watch us create the cover. And then we also as part of the stream created this asteroid belt. This is Topola's Tower, and I think it's chapter 4 of Light of Xeraxis adventure, where the team ran around and chased a shark through this asteroid field and ended up killing it by making it basically slingshotting into a rock, which was freaking epic. We had also spent time rebuilding the Citadel of Light that the Xeraxis Empire controls, also as part of the Light of Xeraxis conversion project. But most importantly right now, we are working on, this is the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration mechanics that, that should be working good, that we've been, okay, that fills the space, okay. I'm just seeing how things fill space then, so forgive me my tangents. But okay, great. Yeah, so this is the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book that is currently in edits. Most of the first, where are we at? Like here's the ship mechanics, and we still have some notes and stuff that we need to revise. That Adam and I are wrestling over the mechanics and like how to properly express them. All part of the normal editing process. If you've ever hired and worked with an editor before, you know that. They'll push back at the way that you said things, saying, is this how you're actually intending things to be said, and all the yada yada yadas that go along with that. But one of the things that while I was going through the changes and making my own suggestions, I got down to the spellcasting section of the document. That's way down here on page 39 of my document. You don't have these rules anymore. You have an older version of them in the playtest content. If you check down in the Patreon link down below, there is a link to the old initial playtest documents for all the mechanics for the entire In Command series of squads, armies, guilds, kingdoms, Infernal war machines, as well as now Spelljammer mechanics. So all those use the same command mechanics. It's just we pulled out we tore out the piece about Spelljammer at the back, like the back 90 pages of that 188 page document that you're going to link into through my Patreon. It leads you into the old original Spelljammer mechanics that we had before we started playtesting stuff. So since we've obviously done a lot of playtesting since August, so those rules are now out of date, but they still give you kind of the idea about how this stuff is going to work. Oops, I shouldn't have pressed that button. Where did I go to? Siege damage. Okay, so I noticed when I was working on as I'm just kicking through the document as we are here, I'm going through the siege weapons and crews that fire them, the range of these things. And then we got down into building squadrons. Like here's all the different weapons. Building like how much ammunition per ton, and then we have mechanics up further above about how much weight a ship can carry based on its size and what type of material it's built out of. It's pretty basic math. But then there's a crew that fires your weapons. The higher rank your crew, the better the weapon fires. And then so there's hiring a crew and maintaining lifestyles for them. And then if you have a siege weapon crew, you could potentially rent or recruit or create an entire ship worth of crew and hire ships to go along with it, which leads us to ship squadrons of building, like instead of like multiple weapons on one ship, it's multiple weapon platforms or ships in a squadron. So it just upscales from the like this is like the Light of Zarax's Citadel of Light. Each one of these 500 are 500 foot squares, and it's a 10 by 10 block. So it's this is a 1 mile square on the battlefield. And if you're flying a squadron of enemy ships at the Citadel, then one squadron is going to fill a 500 foot space. And then you can have multiple squadrons grouped together into a 2 by 2, like a large size squadron, or like a 3 by 3 as a huge size squadron. But that's 500 feet blocks. But if you have like 10 hammerhead ships that are sitting inside of this thing, that is an armada of hammerhead ships that are doing a bomb run, like a B-wing bomber in Star Wars, doing a bomb run across the Citadel if you're trying to destroy its combat capabilities. So this is one of the playtests that we had. I had prep about this. Like I think, God, this was back like in episode 4 of the Spelljammer playtest stuff, so you can see all that. But then we went through and built the map here. So that is all to say that we're working now on the mechanics for upcasting spells. So you've got your basic 5 foot scale spells. Like if I'm going to shoot a lightning bolt, it's going to go like 60 feet. That's 12 squares. But I could upcast the spell so that if I'm working, say like on this map at the 50 foot scale, I could spend an extra spell slot to, instead of being a 5 foot scale lightning bolt, it's now a 50 foot scale lightning bolt. And if I wanted to push it up to the 500 foot scale, like if I wanted to throw a lightning bolt from back here on in my squadron of ships at the Light of Zarax's Citadel, I could upscale it a 3rd level spell slot for the lightning bolt and either cast a 5th level spell or a 2nd level spell slot to go along with it, a total of 5 spell slots. I could then scale it up to the 500 foot scale and lob it 12 squares. If I'm here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I could drop a lightning bolt 500 feet wide and 6,000 feet long through the Citadel here, and it'll cost me a 5th level spell slot. But they also have wizards and sorcerers that are at different defense points in the facility that can also launch upscaled lightning bolts at your squadrons. So you're still playing 5e, it's just everything is upscaled in the hundreds of damage, because a ship can, like a Stark Moth, can take 200 points, 400 points of damage. And so if you're like firing a trebuchet at it that's going to do like d8 times 10 damage, 3 or 4 good hits from a trebuchet will drop a single Star Moth. Now let's put 30 trebuchets in a combat block 500 feet wide, defending this tower, the Emperor's Citadel. You've got, say, 30 trebuchets in this 2x2 block, and those 30 trebuchets are going to be doing d8 times 10 damage each. You're doing 3d8 times 100 damage with a full volley of trebuchets firing at your squadron of hammerhead ships that might have 2,000 hit points a pop. So if you've got 5 squadrons at, say, 3,000 hit points apiece, you got 15,000 hit points worth of squadron attacking the citadel, and it's lobbing lightning bolts at you, dealing 8d6 times, doing 8d6 damage across anything that hits it. But it's not upscaling the damage. Here, let's just look at it. So spellcasting, spells that can affect checks. These are spells that you can cast on like your pilot or a commander that's commanding a squadron or a siege weapon crew. And then we have actually amplifying the spells. So we're talking about a 50-foot scale here, costs a one spell slot, and a 500-foot scale costs a second spell slot, or upcasting by 2 levels. And then so once you've decided to upcast that, and you have to be you have to be focusing through a helm, a spell cannon amplifier, or a mounted orrery that acts as a scanner system for your ship. So you have those 3 tools that you can use that are attached to your Spelljammer ship that you can then channel the magic through to amplify through your ship to be at these larger scales. So once you do that, there are parameters and rules about how the spell gets upcast. So we were just, damn it, there we go. Did not mean to do that. So let's blip on this thing. I'm just going to walk through the rules real quick, and then we're going to do some document updating to fix some of the language about the specifics that we're looking at. So I got a timer started. It's 2:41. I've got an hour and 20 minutes. That's 4 refreshes on my dice, or on my map. So Anzi, yes, I am back. So siege weapon crews. Let's get back down to the spell casting because I pressed the button. Like you see here, like a trebuchet. Yeah, it does D8 times 10 damage. So and it has a range of 1,500 feet, which is 3 squares. At the 500-foot scale, 3 squares. Like I can hit this temple on the Citadel of Light. Like if I'm here, 1, 2, 3, 3 squares away, I can hit it with a trebuchet, and that would be within normal range. But all the mechanics for all siege weapons and all ranged weapons is a mile or more. So I could fire my trebuchet all the way back here and still hit, say, this corner piece or this fortress over here, right? So I could still hit it at that range with the trebuchet. It's just that that's a far range, so it's a disadvantage to attack. And I could technically fire it even further than that, because there is technically no limit to how far you can fire, but once an attack comes from over a mile away, it takes so long to arrive that any target, they have to either not be aware that the shot is coming for you to be able to hit it, and then they wouldn't be seeing you, so they're unaware of the attack, so they're surprised. That gives you advantage, but the shot's at disadvantage, so it washes out as a normal attack roll. But if they know you're there, since it's so far away incoming, they can just choose to move out of the way. Unless they're like immobilized, paralyzed, stunned, unless you've done something like that, there's nothing that prevents something just to slide out of the way. It's like, that's just a casual miss. Because it's so far away, it takes more than a round to arrive. So you can only hit things more than a mile away if they don't know it's coming. So, and that's kind of the same thing with rams. If you see something coming in to ram you and you're over a mile away when you begin your ramming run, they'll have a round to be able to respond to that. And if they don't know you're coming, you'll be able to hit them. Otherwise, they can just sidestep you and the attack is a miss, but you'll still be, adjacent to them to be able to engage in combat like that. Hopefully these things make sense, just offhand. But yeah, and like the mangonel does D6 times 10 damage. A ballista, where's my ballista? It does D4 times 10 damage. These are all the actual damages that these weapons do if you look up Saltmarsh. But instead of 8d10 damage that you get from a trebuchet, it's 8d10. I just made it a d8 times 10. And then from that, I extrapolated back the numbers. A mangonel doing, instead of 3d, I think it's like 5d8 damage that it does. Well, we just made it a d6 times 10 instead. So, and then we made the ballista, which is like 3d10 damage, I think, under normal circumstances. We just made it a d4 times 10 instead. So we made it in this times 10, and then with a squadron, you can have like times 100 damage depending on how many ships are in your armada. So you can it upscales. It's a smooth upscale to times 10, times 100, and once you get over the size of a mile, you can't really upscale anymore because visualizing your target over a mile away becomes difficult unless you take size into account, which we have further up in the document in the exploration section. Actually, it's further down in the document in the exploration section about how far can you see things to be able to target stuff. None of these mechanics exist in 5e, so we had to build all those, and it allows us to smoothly curve all these mechanics into our army and squad mechanics for when you want to instead of flying a ship in a 500-foot square squadron, you instead have, like, say, 1,000 soldiers that are in this 500-foot block. So the mechanics will work out the same because we've already mathed it all out using siege weapons. We can then convert it to foot soldiers, like running squads of 20-foot by 20-foot foot soldiers, or like 5 squads of 20-foot by 20-foot soldiers, all moving in a block together. Like, although all that math is here, we just have to translate it into like moving on feet and engaging weapons with feet and like swarming and over. Anyway, we've talked about all that before in command stream, which is another playlist. But we're currently working on spellcasting, which is what I'm supposed to be talking about. So here we are, back into the spellcasting document. I want to be in suggestion mode. So amplifying spells, we were just talking about that, and then we're talking about the ranges. So the range, we were talking about 50-foot and 500-foot scales, lightning bolts and stuff like that. Area of effect, the same thing. When you amplify a spell, you increase its scale, like in Fireball or Lightning Bolts is another AoE. But like a Fireball is a good example, is a 20-foot radius blast. At the 50-foot scale, upcasting that would make it a 8 square wide circle about this big, and that would upcast 1, and then at the 500-foot scale, an 8 square blast, like covering the entire citadel with fire, would be a 2 level upcast. But don't freak out yet. So here is, we'll skip single target stuff for now. Amplifying damage. So if the damage if the spell is added to a weapon attack, like a Paladin's Smite. So damage that is added to a weapon attack can be cast on siege weapons and ship melee weapons, but not entire squadrons. So one ship can be targeted with an upcasting to deal more damage when it's like a smite spell. The damage is amplified to the 50-foot scale and multiplies the damage by 10. For example, a piloting paladin can, using smite with a 2nd level spell slot, during a melee siege weapon attack, can amplify the spell by spending an additional spell slot, dealing 3d8 times 10 radiant damage to the target ship, or 3d8 damage if the target ship's pilot takes the damage instead. Because the mechanics we have is that if you are focusing through a spell jamming helm to pilot the ship, then when your ship gets hit by this increased damage, the siege damage, you drop the multiplier, and you just take the 3d10 damage from that smite attack hitting your ship. You take the damage instead, and your life force and your willpower gets depleted because it's hit points. But then your teammate can come over and slap you with a heal spell and replenish your hit points. So you're still spending your healing spell point supply like you would in a normal 5e round of combat when you're fighting enemies as a team at the 5-foot scale. Now we're operating at the 50-foot scale with all the characters on the team on the same mobile platform that's flying through space as a gunship. And so you've got somebody that's piloting, you've got people that are controlling the siege teams, firing the trebuchets and ballistas as attacks per round like a fighter would. And we have all those mechanics about the reload die that you roll to see if the team automatically reloads the weapon, or if you have to use an additional action to reload the weapon as a team. So all that stuff is in there. So when you take that damage, you're amplifying the spell by spending an extra spell slot, and it allows you to amp the damage up by 10, but only if it's channeled through a weapon like a great example is a lightning arrow. You can upscale lightning arrow, channel it into a ballista bolt, and then fire it at your enemy, and that converts it. The normal rules is it converts into like a 3d8 lightning bolt that's like 50 feet long. But since that's not actually an attack, it's not actually a weapon attack modifier spell, it would not increase its damage. But anything that gets hit inside of that 250 foot long blast, like say a siege crew, all of them are going to take 3d8 damage from that lightning shot. So you can't destroy a ship with it, but you can kill an entire crew that's operating a ballista with it, unless that ballista is being commanded by somebody that's willing to eat that 3d8 damage for your team as though they had been hit by it themselves. So we're keeping a real tight control over how damage amplifies. Fireball doesn't increase damage. So when we're talking about covering the entire fortress with a fireball costing a total of 5 spell slots, dealing 8d6 damage, it will literally only do 8d6 damage, but it will be to almost this entire structure. So you can drop a fireball on it, but it's not going to burn down the buildings because objects aren't affected by these things, and the Citadel of Light is considered an object, not a creature, though your ships are considered creatures, so they can be affected by fireballs. Just like in Infernal War Machines and Avernus, those are considered constructs because those are a creature type, which means you can damage them with the spells, because Fireball says creatures hit by these spells take 8d6 damage. So your your Star Moth with 400 hit points, it gets hit by a fireball, it's going to take 8d6 damage worth of fire damage, and it's got 400 hit points, so it can take a number of fireballs like that. It's just fire. It's not going to completely destroy the ship. So if you want to upscale, that's up to you as a DM. It's a very logical step that you can do that. But like I'm saying, dropping a whole fireball on the Citadel of Light isn't going to destroy the entire Citadel with one fireball. It's going to potentially kill a shitload of people that are out walking around on the street. So you kind of have a genocide on your hands, but you could do that. But anybody that's indoors, if they know there is a squadron of enemies heading their way, they're going to go indoors. Sirens are going to go off. Everyone's going to go down into the bunkers inside of the Citadel, and they're going to be in combat mode. Combat like SDF, like Robotech, the SDF-1. You don't have a bunch of people walking around having a ho-hum sort of day when there is a war happening outside your ship. Everyone goes into the bunkers for lockdown. The Citadel tries to fight off your armada. When your armada overcomes their defenses and land on the ship, there's not a bunch of people walking around. It's basically an empty city, and all the action is the military at the actual temple. So if you land your ship, you're potentially going to have to fight your way through blocks of troops that are interested in killing you. So that's when you can take your small craft, your 50-foot skiffs with like a ballista on its back, and you can then travel from at the 500-foot scale. You can blip across in little skiffs and fly your way to the Citadel, and then land, and then push you guys into the actual temple, and then Light of Zaraxis provides a map of the temple at the 5-foot scale, so that when you land at the door, you can offload yourself from the skiffs directly into the 5-foot map. You can just like place your skiffs on the 5-foot map, and then that's where you land, and your characters disembark, and now you start having the final boss fight with the king. So, if that dragon is causing you too much trouble, then take your skiff, point your ballista at it, and fire a ballista right into that dragon, doing 4d4 times 10 damage when you do it. So anyway, and if you're not on an amplifier, you can't upcast spells. So if you want to use this upscaling in a dungeon, that dungeon has to be able to fit a small craft, like a fighter ship with an arcane turret mounted to it, so that you can fly this 20-foot ship or 30-foot or 40-foot ship down the gullet of whatever dungeon it is that you're going into. You're basically taking a war wagon down into a dungeon. If your DM is letting you do that, then chances are they're ready for you to be dealing D4 times 10 damage per round with a ballista at whatever monsters it is that are down in these 50-foot wide tunnels. So, but we had a playtest about that using a purple worm that was 200 feet long. So anyway, so that's how the damage upscaling works with casting spells. And then duration is as long as you maintain focus on an amplifier, again, which is either a spell cannon, a mounted orrery, or a spell jamming helm. Then while you're maintaining focus on that device that's channeling the upcast spell, if it's a duration spell, that duration doesn't end until your concentration is broken, or you disengage from the equipment and lose focus and attunement from that device. That'll also end the effect. Being knocked unconscious will end the effect, and of course, if you take damage, that will end the focus on the spell as well. So the support role using an orrery or an arcane cannon can amp spells to enhance your ship and buff your ship, but isn't going to be taking damage. The pilot is going to be taking damage. So you can safely maintain that buff on your ship as long as the whoever's on the orrery or arcane cannon isn't taking direct hits. So you have you can actually lock in a spell, like lock that spell in. But if your ship gets scuttled, like if you get rammed and your balance gets tossed, then whoever's maintaining concentration on that spell now takes falling damage from the ship getting scuttled. And when they take the falling damage, that's going to trigger a saving throw. Oh, that's going to... Oops, my chair just dropped. That's going to trigger a concentration check for taking damage. And that's how you can break an orrery's a support character's concentration when they're not taking direct damage from ship fire. You have to ram them and scuttle their gravity. So you have a need for melee combat with these ships to jostle and bump and knock the ship around, so that everybody on board gets shook up and screws up their concentration, loses their focus, disables the ship so you can get some hard hits on the hull without the pilot taking the damage for it. But then the pilot can use a bonus action to regain focus on the spell jamming helm and then be able to put up shields again and protect it. So you've got this really cool action sequence and action economy of controlling the ship. So that's how amplifying works. Hopefully that was a fun ride to listen to, guys. Because I freaking love these mechanics, and you'll be able to, again, this whole document, once it's completed, it'll be on the DM's Guild. It'll be 100% preview, cover to cover. You'll be able to read the entire thing. But like all these additional assets that I'm creating, all these tokens that I've been building on stream, those are all going to be in a zip file that you get when you purchase the book. So buying the book gets you a shitload of art assets and maps that I'm creating for you guys, so that you can actually implement the system. I mean, if you have your own tokens and stuff, you just want to play with the mechanics for free to make sure that you think they're cool, please do. That's why the old document is still available for the playtest for you guys to fiddle with it. And once it goes live, you can run your own Light as Araxis campaign. And when you're done with the campaign, if you're like, yeah, that was actually really cool, if that's when you decide you want to give me money, thank you. Because it proved the point that the mechanics were worth it and they made the game better for you to play. And better meaning like more tactical, more 5e combat stuff, more hard rules that allow you to interact with this infinite plane of existence and these giant bodies that are floating through it, and how those things move and how they interact with gravity, and how your ship can orbit and exit and fly inside the atmosphere of these crafts, and how large of an object do you actually need to have spherical gravity versus it still just being that two-dimensional plane gravity that ships have. Like, where's the breaking point on that? We go into those details, which then lets us develop things like rings around planets. Like, what is the gravity involving those? How does that work? We have the mechanics for that in there too. Like, all of this stuff. How many hit points can a 5,000 mile wide moon, how much damage can that thing take before it's destroyed by the Death Star? We have the mechanics for that in there too for you. If you really want to go into the old second edition adventures and convert them, we are providing a means for you to do that huge scale, mega damage, to be able to take the Death Star and just, because this Light of Xeraxis can channel a lightning bolt that deals hundreds or even thousands of damage. So when this Citadel comes into orbit, it'll destroy your world. So like, you've got these seed plants that are trying to destroy your planet, right? That's the whole theme of the adventure. Giant tendrils are boring from your planet and will eventually pulverize it. Well, we have mechanics for how that happens, like how long it takes, the damage that they're dealing, and that kind of puts a timer on there for you, so that you have an idea of how long do we have to complete this adventure. We can spell that out. I actually still need to spell that out, so stay tuned for that, because we're still finishing the Light of Xeraxis adventure. But so that's all the mechanics that go into it. It's 3 o'clock. I've got a whole hour to continue to play. So here is the notable spells. Oh yeah, we have mechanics for amplifying creature spellcasting. So creatures that can cast spells. Mordenkainen, they got rid of spell slots for creatures. They're all actions now. So we converted into a recharge mechanic. So the recharge die traditionally uses a d6, and when a creature upcasts a spell or upscales a spell to this 50 or 500 foot scale, this puts it on a recharge of a d6. You have to roll a 6 on a d6 or higher, so only a 6 on a d6 minus their rank. And if you know the document, and you'll see further up where it talks about crews and commanders and creatures, there's 5 ranks. And like once you get to CR 14 plus, that's 5th rank. Less than 1 CR, or rather up to 1 CR is a 1st rank creature. 14th level and above is a CR is a 5th rank creature. So like for example, Azariel from Descent into Avernus, when she upscales a spell while flying the flying fortress, or the giant blade that she has in that adventure. Spoiler alert. Anyway, if she casts one of her spells through her ship, like through her 500-foot scimitar blade ship that deals d10 times 100 damage, slashing damage, magical slashing damage, she can upcast that spell to deal, like, say, an extra 3d8 damage with a smite that she can channel. And then since she's a 5th rank creature, she can recharge that on a die of 1 through 6 on a 6-sided die. It's d6. It's a 6 minus her rank, which is 5. So she can do that every round. So she can deal blistering amounts of damage when she hits you with that blade. But she wants to cut the city of Elturel in half. So she's able to spend all of her, like, each round of concentration while she's focusing on the blade. She can do the d10 times 100 damage. And then, because she's a boss, she can then channel through another 3d8 times 10 damage. So she's doing times 10. So she can do d10 times 100 damage plus 3d8 times 10. So she could be doing potentially up to 1200 damage per round on a perfect hit. And she's trying to cleave through this mile-sized Elturel city. And it's going to take her like an hour and a half to do it. So that's how long your team has to destroy her citadel. But when we did the playtest, the fight was over basically in 8 rounds. So it was freaking awesome. So anyway, so that's how creatures amplifying spells. Amplifying creature spell casting. That's how that mechanic works. So now we have all these exceptions and caveats talking about notable spells and how they amplify spells. And as you can see here, this is all incredibly shorthand. So it's I need to go in here and fix these spells so they aren't such like I is for instant, C is for concentration, and then I'm like super quick handing how these spells work when you're amplifying the damage. And I need to come into this full list and fix all these things so that so that I make Adam's job a little easier in editing this thing, so he doesn't have to guess at what the hell I'm talking about. he'll tell me what the proper formatting is, and we can go through and do that. But for now, what I want to do is I want to break down all these spells and just improve what they have to say. And if I don't remember what the hell it is I'm trying to say, we can dive over here and go into D&D Beyond and be ready to fetch up the name of the spell that we need. And we can then go into the spell specifics in case I have a need to revise what it does. So you extend your hand and trace a sigil of wording in the air until the end of your next turn. You have resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage dealt by weapon attacks. So that is a 1 round duration. Let's see. What do we want to do? Blade Ward. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out of the suggestion mode. I'm just going to go directly into editing. Blade Ward can be cast as a reaction when amplified. This cantrip can be cast as a reaction when amplified, this cantrip can be cast as a reaction to taking to the ship, taking damage until the end of your next round. Period. That is what we are trying to do. Let's see. So it's a concentration spell, which means while you're maintaining focus on the amplifier, you can sustain this spell message. So while maintaining focus, while maintaining communicate with a creature within range. Feet of the spell amplifying. There. Color spray. Instantaneous. I hate that word. They should have just called them instant. Just, you guys own Magic the Gathering, for God's sake. Why can't you call it instant spells? love of Christmas. Uh-oh. I got a nose goblin I gotta fight. Hold on, I'll be right back, guys. Oh my lord. Yes! 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 My robes are dry and hot. I am excited. Excited! Give me a moment, guys. I gotta put on my robes. Get to put on my nice warm robes, fresh out of the dryer. Glorious. My Christmas plans is to spend a lot of time on the couch with my girl. So I wanted to make sure I had crisp and clean pajamas so that we can couch surf like gods. And I have fresh dryer scent robes. There's that goblin. Yes. Oh, fresh robes. Oh, God, that feels so good. All right. Resolve my goblin. Fresh batch of water. 45 minutes left of stream time. I love this stuff. What a great day. If you celebrate Christmas, cheers. I hope you're with people you love. And I love that you spend time with me too. So thanks for being a part of my family today. Color spray, instantaneous. Oh, yeah, okay. All creatures within the area of effect must make a wisdom saving throw to prevent being blinded, and any ship caught in the area of effect forces the pilot to make even if they have full cover, which being in the lower deck of a ship does provide. All creatures within the area of effect must make a wisdom saving throw to prevent being blinded, and any ship caught, all creatures within the area of effect without full cover must make a wisdom saving throw to prevent being blinded, and any ship caught in the area of effect forces the pilot the pilot forces its pilot. Let's do that. Its pilot to make the saving throw as well, even if they have full cover. There you go. Detect poison and disease. Concentration. Oh, there's, you know what? There's no reason why that can't be a ritual. Although that was back before we had resolved the ritual mechanics. Concentration, ritual. This spell can also determine if an atmosphere has fouled air, or if the air is poisonous. No. Excuse me. I don't know if that's supposed to be capitalized or not. That's why I hired Adam. This guy's self. Not scale, space. For example, can appear as a 4x4 star moth. There we go. Divine Favor, Concentration. Siege, weapon, attacks, gain, plus 1d4 times 10 radiant damage. This is one of those examples of a spell that directly affects weapon damage. Divine Favor is a freaking great spell because it's only first level. It's only first level, and it doubles the damage that a ballista deals. So you could cast Divine Favor on the siege weapon. Let's see. Concentration. It is this spell targets when this spell is cast on a siege or squadron commander. Siege commander or pilot. The siege weapon damage under siege weapon damage under their command increases by increases damage. That's how you should word it. When the spell is cast on a siege commander or pilot, damage from siege weapon attack commands increase damage increase damage. Why do you keep glitching on me, weirdness? Plus. When this spell is cast on a siege commander or pilot, siege weapon attack commands siege weapon damage increases. Start. Per attack. There. Because a siege commander could be commanding 3 ballistas at the same time, but it's the commander that is being affected by the spell, and the effect is expanding. It normally would allow you, if you were using a long sword or a dagger, the damage would still only be D4 additional radiant damage. So when a siege commander is using their attack action to have 1 or even 17 ballistas fire, it's going to only be an additional D4 times 10 damage. It's only a first level spell, so it's not going to scale up that much. So, but if you have multiple characters that are controlling separate ballistas as their own attack economy during a round, and if you have divine favor affecting all of them, then each one of those commanders, when they issue an attack, that attack damage would increase by D4 times 10 each character. So that's how that works out. So if you got that paladin that's using a slashing ram attack on your Starmoth, and he has divine favor on him, he's going to be doing his 2d4 times 10 slashing damage. If he wants to throw a radiant smite on top of it for 2 spell slots plus the +1 for the amplifier, it'd be an extra 3d8 times 10 damage. And then if he's rocking the divine favor spell on top of it, it would be an additional d4 times 10 damage through that slashing damage ram attack. Cleave your ship in half, but then then the same thing with siege weapons and stuff. Anyway, so there you go. Ensnaring strike. So yep, this is the work, because I need to spell out all that stuff because Adam's not a mind reader. So ensnaring strike. I better look up ensnaring strike because I don't know if that's actually. It's ensnaring strike. That's right. Ensnaring strike does modify weapon damage. Let me verify that's true. And the next time you hit a creature with a weapon attack, there it is. But with weapon attack, writhing mass of thorny blades and bloody blah. Target must succeed a strength saving throw or be restrained by the magical vines until the spell ends. A large or larger creature Has advantage on the saving throw. When restrained by the spell, the target takes D6 piercing damage at the start of each of its turns. A creature restrained by the vines or one that can touch the creature can use its action to make a strength check against your spell save DC. On a success, the target is freed. No, it doesn't actually affect the weapon damage. It's as a result of the effect. So let's check out the restrained condition. Becomes 0. Nice. Okay. Comments from Hornetico. I remember my first D&D character was a paladin with 10 charisma. And so you only knew one spell. That spell was Divine Favor. Hell yes. And it carried that character quite well, as it was mostly an undead game. That does carry the character well. Well done, sir. Well done. Pick your spells wisely based on the character in the campaign. You don't... White box theory crafting is BS. It just doesn't work, because every campaign is unique. I do not believe these are supposed to be bolded, so we shan't. Any ship hit when this spell targets a ship. Okay, so the damage threshold of vessels like dragonflies and star moths and hammerhead ships, they have a damage threshold of 10, 15, or 20, depending on what materials the ship is made out of. This D6 damage per round that the ensnaring strike, since it's not actually weapon damage that is being dealt by the ensnaring strike, that spell isn't going to do any damage to the ship on a round by round basis because it only deals D6 damage. But if you fail your saving throw when your ship gets hit by it, the ship will still be restrained. So it actually is an effective spell because the ship can't move, you have advantage to attack, and it has disadvantage on other saving throws, like if you want to line up a fireball or something onto it. So it's still a really useful spell. It's just not doing D6 times 10 damage because it's not actually damaging through the attack roll. It's just area. Now, again, your DM can override that if you want, but we're intentionally being conservative on how you're amplifying damage because it can get out of hand if you just roll up in your go-kart and drop a 8d6 times 10 fireball onto somebody's community. It's just, an 8d6 is bad enough. So you don't need to amp it up times 10 damage and destroy a ship in one shot. Unless that's the kind of campaign your DM wants to play and then decides to allow it. But by default, that is not how we designed the system to work. You can just intuitively take that next step if you want to. So we'll probably want to add a sidebar that says, use your best judgment. This is not something we believe is for the benefit of your campaign. When the ship target, if a ship targeted by this spell was it strength? Strength saving throw. God, that's great. If a ship is affected by the spell, the pilot makes if the save fails, the ship is restrained until the effect ends. And any creatures aboard without full cover take 1d6 damage per round. And the effect Wait, when was that? 10. The creature can use its action to make a strength save against your spell save. On a success, the target is freed. Can use their action to make a saving throw to break free. A commander for any siege crews they command. So you can change each round. Like if I have a round, I can take command of all the siege crews and then make a saving throw for the siege crews to help to break them free from the restrained condition so that they can get back to work to continue firing at people. The restrained condition doesn't prevent people from making attacks. So let's see. If a ship is affected by the spell, it and all well, I think I have it covered. Each creature can use their action to make a strength saving throw to break free. A siege commander can make a saving throw for there. Okay, that's proper. I think that expresses what we want it to express. Better look up Fairy Fire. Any attack roll against an affected creature or object has advantage if the attacker can see it, and the affected creature or object can't benefit from being invisible. Nice. Okay, so ba 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 ba. Let's see, a dex save. A dex save? Why for Fairy Fire? That's so weird. Let's see, any creature in the area when the spell is cast is also outlined in light if it fails a dexterity saving throw. The ship is targeted by must make the dexterity saving throw. If the save fails, the ship and all aboard are affected by this spell. Hopefully that's not pig language enough. I'm gonna do that. Featherfall. Reaction. This spell can be amplified to prevent the ship from being scuttled or taking any crashing damage. Similarly, if cast on a crew member if cast normally on a crew member, the creature from crashing or board is scuttled or crashes. There. There should be no bold there. Concentration. You touch a creature, the target's speed increases by 10 feet until the spell ends. Okay. Concentration. If when this spell is amplified to target a ship, its speed increases by 1 square of movement from 5 squares to 6. Wow. Similarly, I think this is my last run. Yeah, it's 3:40 now, so this is my last burst. So 5 to 6. Similarly, if cast normally on a creature capable of on an unnatural creature capable of moving at higher scales of speed, the also increase its movement from 5 squares to 6. There. Hopefully that makes sense. God, these things have so much caveat. No wonder I just left them as a gist of it. Like, this should be intuitive for you. It's like, no, you gotta break all this crap down, kid. You gotta break all this crap down. Call it focus instead of concentration, since that's the language that we're using. While amplifying generally applies to all spells, the following spells have unique attributes worth noting. Focused refers to spells that can be as the caster maintains concentration and has focus on a spell amplifier. Read that again. Focused refers to spells that can be maintained for as long as the caster refers to spells that can persist that have a duration Thank you. Focused, focused, focused. Focused. Because some of these spells don't actually require concentration, but we're imposing that focused mechanic, so you have to have both focus on the amplifier and maintain concentration for it. This is very similar to the sustain effects that I use in the 5-color mana spell point variant rules that are conveniently linked down in the description down below. Go ahead and read them if you want. Hornetico says, totally unrelated, but there is nothing quite like checking the DM's Guild on Christmas Eve and finding that your product has just sold its first copy. I feel so accomplished. Hey, yeah, the stunt, the stunt, right? That's got released. Congratulations, my man. That's fantastic. That is freaking fantastic. If you want, we were talking about potentially releasing some of the playtest stuff that we had done with Infernal War Machines and Spelljammer in general. If you're interested in having some of that content shared because of the stunt playtest that you were doing with that, I don't know if that's considered peak stream content or not, and we'd have to get everyone that was playtesting to sign off on it. But I am not opposed to that at all. So it doesn't necessarily showcase the stunt class, perhaps the way that you would want it to, but it's something, and it's something that I'm interested in putting out to the team in general, because honestly, those are really fun adventures that we had. So I would love to see that stuff play out. But anyway, food for thought. No required answer right now. Hell yeah, my dude. You know, I would not mind having this bundled on. I'm going to be building a bundle out of this thing anyway to create a discount for this, and there's absolutely nothing that would prevent you from sliding your copy in with it. It just makes sense. So many of your class features just fold in so naturally with it. When this spell is amplified to target a ship or a creature, I honestly don't think this matters. spell is amplified to target a ship the armor class is 13 plus the pilot dexterity or intelligence modifier pilot's constitution, dexterity, intelligence, or wisdom modifier. Your choice. Pilot's choice. The spell can affect ships constructed from light and material and composite materials. If the ship AC is equal is the AC granted by the AC granted by this spell can replace the AC of the target ship if that's how to word it. This spell can replace the AC of the target ship if the AC is higher than the AC granted by the material the ship is constructed from. Because a heavy material like stone and metal has an armor class of 20. A medium, a composite material or medium armored ship has an armor class of 15 plus con, dex, int, or wisdom, maximum +2, which caps you at 17. And then a ship made out of light material has an armor class of 13 plus either your constitution, dexterity, intelligence, or wisdom modifier, which could be up to 18. So a ship with composite materials would cap at 17, but if you have a +5 on one of those stat bonuses, you could potentially squeeze out an 18 armor class by using mage armor with one of those stats. Meanwhile, a heavy armor, a heavy material ship would not benefit from a mage armor spell. So, boy oh boy, that's wordy, and I'm sure Adam is just going to absolutely kick my ass when he sees that, but that is where we're at for now with it, and we can potentially come back and fix it. So, oh boy, focused. I expect to get chewed out for that one, and it would be well earned. So you know, it's almost 4 o'clock. I've only got a few minutes left. We still got Shield's a fun one, Sanctuary, good stuff coming up. Good stuff coming up. Shield of Faith would absolutely work. Thunderous Smite What a great spell. Oh my god, that's so fun. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut stream here, but this is absolutely where I'm at in the document. And boy, oh boy, we got a lot of spells to go. Man, we got a lot of spells to go. So I think, but honestly, I'm having a lot of fun going through this process, but I'm not going to be on stream again until Tuesday. But I think it would be fun to go through here and actually do all these on stream with you guys if you're up for it. So... yeah, we're just, I'm going to put this on pause, have a holiday. Well, I'll probably do a lot of these off stream. But I think but I don't think I'm going to be finished by Tuesday. So, because I'm on holiday after this right now. So, like in the next few minutes. So I'll probably get some of this done when I'm doing couch time tablet work. But I'm not going to get it finished. So we'll come back on Tuesday. And Tuesday through Tuesday next week, starting Tuesday, it's my week off. I'll be a full-time developer and artist for a week. That's my gift to myself for the holidays. And I do that every year. So, but this year it's going to be on stream a lot. So Tuesday morning we'll be back and we'll continue the Eberron map that we were working on earlier today. And then we'll take our lunch break and then we'll come back for the afternoon. And we will continue wherever it is that wherever it is I stop at. We'll pick up and continue with. But I think we'll spend time talking about animated ships and awakened ships. I think I did that back on stream part like number. I think this was like around number 13, like episode 13, that we were actually building out these mechanics the first time. And now we've looped back around and we're continuing development of it. But I think I spent a session on animated and awakened machines. So, but yeah, like we're talking about like building a bundle Honetico. The first piece that I'm going to build an extension off of this as like a cool down project, right? Like a debriefing mission, sort of like 5-page piece, is going to be a pay what you want document for an awakened ship sidekick. So you can actually awaken your ship, and then you can make your ship your sidekick, and and so it'll be treated as an expert, and we'll build out the expert the sidekick class for an awakened ship. So that'll be really fun. Yeah, I know, right? So once this publishes, that's what we'll do. That'll be a pay what you want coupon from my end, and you buy that, and it'll be like $2 pay what you want, and then if you get you could get it for free if you bundle it with the book. The book will probably be like 15. It's like 90 pages, so it'll probably be a 15-page document when we're finished with it. But if you bundle it, then you can buy down the actual combat and exploration book that we've been working on here. That'll probably buy it down to $12 or. The more stuff we add on to it, the lower it'll get. So it'll be 15 by itself with all the assets and laser access conversion and all this shit. But then if you bundle it with the awakened ship sidekick, that will drop the cost of the book down to $12. So you can pick up the pay what you want for free if you want to, and I'll probably make it $3. And but suggested price $3, but then it's pay what you want, so you don't have to pay anything for it. So if you bundle it together, you would get the awakened ship and the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. Exploration is $12, so the two of them together would still be $15, but you can voluntarily lower the price of it yourself down to $12 if you want by picking up pay what you want for free, and then whatever discount it is that would make sense for you. To then tack on the stunt class, and if you wanted to do a 1-page write-up about how it would convert from the stunt class as it's written to how you would use it with combat and exploration, then you could make the suggestion that this should be your pilot, or I could even take components from your stunt class and make those the expert features that your awakened ship gets. If you use it as a sidekick, maybe it can get some of the class features that you provide for the different subclasses in the stunt class to help make the awakened ship and your stunt class option for a pilot click together. Because if your ship's awakened, it's the pilot of the ship. So so you can use that stunt class with it. I think that would be absolutely fun to do, and we can talk about what the right price point for that sort of thing is. But I think that's a great freaking idea, and I love that. So we'll wait until this thing's done, and then we should absolutely do that because I think that makes a ton of fun sense. And that's I think that's, you help play test all this stuff. I think that's value added. So anyway, I'm done for the day. I will be back Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. like normal. I will put in 2 or 3 hours worth of Eberron cartography. I will take my lunch break. I will come back and we will do more Spelljammer Combat Exploration, spell mechanic advancements. See how far we can get done, and that'll be our Tuesday. And then we'll be back on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll be back again on Saturday. We have Monday off. I don't think my gal has Monday off, so I'll have Monday to stream as well, and then I'm back at work on Tuesday, and I'll be back in on the morning doing either tokens or more Eberron cartography, whatever it is we got going on. So, but I'll also be on Thursday night doing more work, and I'll be on Monday night next week on the 1st. So there you go. So 401, I am done. And yep, it's 401. So that's my plans, and that's a good idea. We'll have to talk about that in detail when we get a chance. Definitely worth exploring at the least. Definitely, man. So if it makes sense, awesome. But that's my thinking. So I will catch you guys on the other side. Like and subscribe. That's the only way that Google knows that this stuff makes any sense to people and that they think it's cool. And I really appreciate you guys spending your Christmas Eve here with me. So catch you guys later. Howdy. How do I get out of here? There we go.